As summer comes to a close, the amount of big-time video games start to pile up. I don't need to explain to you how crazy it is that we're finally getting the second Ace Attorney Investigations after it came out on the original Nintendo DS in Japan 13 years ago. A lot of hammerheads are excited for the return of Space Marine, and probably someone somewhere is really excited for a remaster of Epic Mickey. There's also a Funko Pop game, which feels about a decade too late and should only be sold at GameStops. But forget all of that, because we talk about indie games here, and there's over 20 awesome indie games that you'll want to slap on your wish list as soon as this video's over, starting with UFO 50. That's right, I promised it was coming all the way back in May, and it's finally around the corner. This mega project from Mossmouth features 50 complete new retro games all together into one package, from dungeon crawlers to shooters to beat-em-ups, and you know I'm gonna cover as much of it as I can once I have it in my hands. The aesthetics are perfect for the era it's emulating, and I know with Derek Yu involved, the games are gonna feel great to play. I'm also extremely excited for Phoenix Springs, a hauntingly beautiful point-and-click adventure with a dreamlike narrative that involves utilizing ideas and concepts to solve puzzles rather than physical inventory items. I played the demo on a Steam Next Fest back in 2023, and it was one of my favorite demos that year. It could be this year's Norco. For platformer fans, Grapple Dog is back with an additional playable character and cosmic canines, with more of that incredible Jet Set Radio-influenced music and Nintendo-quality level design. Grapple Dog was my runner-up for Game of the Year in 2022, so an improvement on that game could make it one of the best indie platformers of the decade. Another big platformer on the way is The Plucky Squire, a heavily awaited hybrid from Devolver mixing 2D art by James Turner and 3D platforming. There's also Foul Damage, a puzzle platformer where you can jump higher than you can survive, so you have to be very selective about where you leap and where you drop. And Yars Rising is WayForward's Metroidvania take on the Atari classic, with old-school Yars gameplay being utilized as the hacking minigame. The demo was a little bit too yappy for my tastes, but WayForward generally makes good games, so hopefully this lives up to their track record. Action platformer fans will enjoy Iron Meat, which... It's Contra. It's Contra, okay? It's Contra. You can see it. Not that that's a bad thing, mind you. It certainly looks more interesting than some of Konami's attempts. If you're interested in RPGs, there's Keylocker, an isometric cyberpunk game with very unique turn-based combat by Munana, who previously brought us Osteoblast and Virgo vs. the Zodiac. There's also Cricket, which I talked about back in my Spring Next Fest video, and seems like a cute little Saturday morning cartoon kind of game. And Demon School, whose style and school setting might appeal to fans of Persona. There's also Inotria: The Last Song, a Souls-like that I haven't personally played, but the fact that it's based on Italian folklore is intriguing to me, and a bunch of masks you can wear? Is the moon crashing into the earth? The next two don't have hard dates, but are targeting September, and they both look great. Parcel Core is a mix of Crazy Taxi and Jet Set Radio, as you parkour your way across city streets on your bicycle, looking to make as many deliveries as you can before time runs out. Caravan Sandwich is an open-world adventure game with themes of community building and a rosy post-apocalypse, as you search for your lost sister with your souped-up van. It reminds me of Sable a little bit, minus the Mobius. A narrative game with a hard date is Self-Lost, a story about an old man who travels through a Slavic take on the afterlife, helping others move on in order to fuel his own quest and set himself free. But the largest narrative game by far this month is The Casting of Frank Stone, a handshake between Supermassive and Behavior Interactive that combines the world of Dead by Daylight with the storytelling choose-your-own-adventure style of Until Dawn. Now, is that even indie? I don't know. It's not a first or second party game for a major publisher, but it certainly has a double or AAA budget. I still think it's worth mentioning in the video, but these fringe cases always fail the vibe check for me. Maybe that's a topic for another video, though. For shooter fans, there's Hands of Necromancy 2, which combines the magic blasting of Hexen with a Metroidvania-inspired interconnected world map, and Wild Bastards, the Wild West sequel to Void Bastards, which is a lot more action-packed and less immersive, so it might appeal to you if you found the original game to be a bit too slow-paced. If you like first-person but not the shooting, you might enjoy Star Trucker, a sci-fi take on truck simulation that makes space delivery seem far cozier than the actual horrifying journey that it would be be. Or for some good old body horror, there's Zoocosis, where the zoo animals you're taking care of are undergoing some monstrous transformations. And while I'm talking about horror, Hollow Body is a third-person survival horror evoking feelings of Silent Hill, coming from Headwear Games, the developer of Chasing Static. Now, of course, these dates are subject to change, as indie games frequently get delayed at the last moment due to internal playtesting issues, but that covers most of this month. Of course, there are still other games I haven't even mentioned, from roguelite Elsie to the pulpy stealth tactical sim Sumerian 6, to the stealthy but much less tactical World's Worst Handyman, to whatever you'd call What the Car. And then there are games that might come out in September, but will most likely slip to October, like Bloomtown, the Broken Sword remaster, Critter Cove, an actual new Game Boy Advance game in the year 2024, Good Boy Galaxy. If anything looks good to you this month, let me know in the comments. Are you gonna dive into UFO 50, or are you more excited for amateur detective Miles Edgeworth? Be sure to like and subscribe for more reviews and indie recommendations, and I'll see you in another castle.